Putin reveals Russia's invincible missile in pre-election speech. Russia has developed a new cruise missile that is invincible, according to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Mr. Putin made the revelation as he laid out his key policies for a fourth presidential term, ahead of an election he is expected to win in 17 days' time. He showcased a range of new weapons, including a missile that could reach anywhere in the world. Using video presentations, he said the missile could not be stopped by the US shield in Europe and Asia. He highlighted two nuclear-capable weapons, a cruise missile and a submarine-launched unmanned underwater vehicle. The warhead, he said, was a low-flying, difficult-to-spot cruise missile with a nuclear payload with a practically unlimited range and an unpredictable flight path, which can bypass lines of interception and is invincible in the face of all existing and future systems of both missile defense and air defense. During the 2-hour televised speech to a joint sitting of both houses of parliament, he encouraged Russians to suggest names for the two systems. He argued that Russia had reacted after years of pleading with the US not to break away from anti-missile treaties. Opposition leader barred from vote. Mr. Putin faces 7 challengers on March 18, although none is expected to attract widespread support. The president played no part in a raucous televised debate broadcast on Wednesday that featured the other candidates. Absent from the campaign is prominent opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who has been barred from running and has called on voters to boycott the poll. President Putin has so far done little campaigning and until now said little about his plans for the next 6 years. Fighting poverty. In the first half of his speech, he pledged to have poverty in the country within the next 6 years. Every person matters to us, he said, adding that he wanted to increase employment and longevity. He said he wanted Russia to emulate life expectancy rates in Japan and France. In 2000 there were 42 million people in Russia living below the poverty line, he said. Today there were 20 million, but this still needed to come down. He also said Russia could not take its power for granted. We have no right to allow the stability we have achieved to lead to complacency. Especially since we are far from resolving many problems, he said. Russia is now a leading country with a powerful foreign economic and defense potential. But from the point of view of the extremely important task of ensuring people's quality of life and welfare we, of course, have not achieved the level we require. But we have to do this and will do this, he added to applause. Defense and territory. Russia's military power was built to maintain peace in the world, he argued. However, if anyone fired a nuclear weapon against Russia, he said it would be met with instantaneous retaliation. Russia's operations in Syria, supporting the Assad government's fight against rebels, showed the country's increased defense capabilities, said the president. He also said a bridge to the Crimean Peninsula would be open within the next couple of months. Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, during Mr. Putin's current term in office. Russia was safeguarding its interest in the Arctic region by strengthening its military infrastructure in the region, he said. Technological growth. Digital growth was also essential, Mr. Putin said. He said he wanted Russia to become one of the world's main hubs for storing and processing big data. He called for more progress in making robots and artificial intelligence. New talent in technology should be nurtured and foreigners should be encouraged to study in Russia, he said. All government business would be digitalized to make it more transparent to fight corruption, he said. Most government officials are good, result-oriented people, he added, but these plans will help everyone. Ordinary concerns. The first part of the speech was tailored towards working Russians and their concerns. Mr. Putin pledged to spend more on roads and reduce accidents. He said teachers deserved good salaries and wages and there should be better access to medical services for people in remote areas. He also said internet access would be provided to rural populations across the country, from the Far East to the Siberian North.